Thumbs up.
Go and having kisses while you fight with
Is Nathan actually here? I haven't heard him speak this whole time.
Yes.
Nathan.
Hello.
Nathan didn't laugh at espresso for your depresso, and I'm sad.
You guys are just talking about Rise. What do you want me to say?
I was talking about espresso for your depresso.
Yeah, it was like an entire story about Sam's work before Rise.
Nathan hates me. It's okay.
That seems to be the theme of this lately.
Pat, 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 pat.
It was a very good pun.
It was a good
Alright.
pun.
So, does anybody have any questions before we get started?
Negative.
Reeves has a question.
Reeves can get to his questions when we get in game. I'm asking if the players have questions.
No.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah?
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
Thank God it's not just me.
Oh
It's
my
a shame
goodness.
Tomas is dead.
I know.
Hey, Reese is single again. Single and ready to
Hey.
mingle. What?
Not even a morning period.
He's used to
Alright.
losing everything he loves. It's fine.
Alright. So when we last left off, you guys had a fun little adventure in the cave of recorded mortal history, and learned about the fun little 7 strands connecting the gap in history.
They're us.
You're free to think that.
Yes.
Xyces told you that somebody in the near future is going to fuck with the weave, and it's going to make him so mad he might accidentally slip and erase the mortal plane from existence. So he said it would probably be in your best interest to figure out who is going to do that and to tell them to politely stop it with your weapons if necessary.
Alright, good to have that take-home clarified, because I heard that differently.
Yeah. Yes, it was very much Xyces saying, so you guys aren't going to meddle with it yourself, which is probably good for your health. Unfortunately, you are heavily involved with the person that is going to meddle with it, so I recommend you make them do the stop it before I make the mortal plane do the stop it.
Yep.
Because the weave is more important than the science experiment that is your existence. So, he kicked you all out of his cave. You met back up at the observatory and held a meeting to go over what you had discussed. And with all 3 portions of the God Seal gone, you had a fun little tidbit of information dropped on you when I updated the calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1,000 years later.
They stopped counting after 1,000 years.
Yeah, well.
Yeah. But that is where we will pick up.
So Reeves' question. Wait, what?
Yes, that is going to be the question of the day, isn't it?
Why am I
So,
not
how to
surprised?
put this lightly?
I don't think you can.
Don't just
I
hit
don't
us.
think
it's
I
fine.
can. Well, the easiest way to put this is, barring a few exceptions, the mortal races went extinct.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And...
Everybody that you've been dealing with thus far, save for the deities and the cultists, are forced reincarnations of the people that were alive at the end of the Demon War.
Including ourselves.
Yes. To put it in the easiest way to understand possible, Brianna and Ethos descended when it looked like there was no possibility of survival, and after just shy of 1,000 years of work, managed to more or less reset the mortal plane back to the state that it was in. 1 year after the Demon War ended, save for some crucial pieces of information and one plague.
So that's why. So that's why the Cindergate situation is a situation.
That's why several situations are a situation. But yes.
And why? Okay. Well. Okay. This is making a lot more sense now.
The sins, were they forced reincarnations too?
No, the sins were sealed away, for lack of a better word. In theory, we potentially could have destroyed them earlier, but there was a risk in that. We had no idea if any of the other mortals were still alive. Up until very recently, we weren't aware of the exact numbers of those that had gone into hiding under the guise of the cult you had been dealing with some time ago, let alone if they had survived the plague.
Wait, so those
And-
cultists were living people?
Those cultists were likely some of the last of the original mortals.
Oh.
So that's why Greed called you lot intruders.
Yes, I do believe he used that term quite extensively.
So what were the cultists trying to do then?
Well, that depends on what versions of the cultist you're talking about. The ones before the war or the ones after the war?
Well, after we ran into a couple of them, didn't we?
Yeah, the ones following around that succubus, eh?
Yes, and a few other after the fact if Brianna's updates were to be believed. Those were likely remnants separated from the ones prior to the war with a bit of a different goal considering how things turned out. As you can imagine, the original mortals felt abandoned by their gods for what happened despite us being down here, and weren't all too happy with Ethos and Brianna's solution to, from their point of view, start again from scratch. And as much as we would have liked to wipe out these sins and have saved you that effort, there was the problem that yourselves, at least the iterations of yourselves in the prior to put it bluntly, the original use, as well as the remnants of the 7 heroes. Their souls were trapped inside those with many others, and considering that their threads had been severed, there was a risk of them being lost forever if we destroyed those creatures outright. But there was one bigger issue that even if the loss of a handful of souls was decided to be worth the risk, without knowing for a fact that, or if any of the other mortals had survived, to have wiped out the 7 sins would have voided the contract made with Xyces that Ethos and Brianna made. The contract under which the mortal plane exists. Put it in perspective. You may have gotten some sort of indication from him directly, considering how bluntly he can speak, but Xyces was petitioned by Brianna and Ethos to try a new method of guiding the strings of fate rather than letting them wander as they had been for unknown eons. And after some deliberation, it seems, at least as they told us, that he agreed under certain conditions. The biggest of which is that if under the course of this experiment, all life were to be lost on the mortal plane, he would consider it a failure and would cease his work with Ethos and Brianna. So if we were to lose all life completely, there would have been no second chances.
So basically, you had to keep remnants of life alive in order for them to be able to do what they did.
In order to give this world the second chance, they essentially rolled the world back as best as they could.
Well, then,
The souls and the bodies were still lost, but Ethos and Brianna are very skilled at what they did, to say the least. Your bodies and souls are exact replicas, mirrors of what they were before.
Okay.
well, it doesn't. I mean, doesn't this already solve what he asked us to solve?
Apparently not.
I don't think what they did was what he was referring to when it came to tampering with time.
No, he's talking about somebody else that's gonna mess with the weave.
Oh good, so we have another suicidal fool. The last time we had one of those, this all kicked off.
Well, he said if they succeed, then the whole thing's fucked, so...
Yes, I imagine he's already a bit agitated with the current state of things. I can't imagine another person tampering with the weave he would be exactly forgiving of.
Let's just say,
He
Listen-
was pretty clear about it.
I expected as much, but
Yeah, he's willing to wipe the plane if it means keeping the weave intact.
At least it would be
yes,
quick.
unsurprising.
So whoever is going to do that, we need to make sure they don't.
An undeniably easy task, I'm sure.
Oh, of course, I already solved it. Don't worry, Chief.
My bet's Eber.
It's possible if he got his hands on somebody with a fragment of Xyces. His domain certainly is a unique gift, depending on how one uses it.
Well, he did mention that, and he'd worked with a few, but couldn't be fucked to remember who they were. But
Yes.
is this all of you lot? Momika's kind of motioning at the cost collective here. Like, is this all of you?
No, there's a few others, but their domains are a bit specialized. Their knowledge isn't exactly the most useful to us at the moment.
One of them's not lost knowledge, is it?
Nothing that goes by that specifically. This boy here gestures with a turn of the wrist. My domain specifically goes over history, but that would probably be the closest to lost knowledge. Even then, not exactly a one-to-one comparison of it.
We have explained to them about the guy that we've encountered, right?
I thought we had
Yes.
mentioned him at least once that after the first time he showed up, and then I don't know if it ever got brought up again.
Yes, that gentleman. We've looked over our records and haven't exactly found anybody matching his description, but if he's involved with Xyces as much as you think he might be, well, let's just say if he was able to hide himself from one of the triumvirate, it wouldn't be that difficult to hide from us as well.
Alright, so just to confirm, Demon War was kicked off. Eventually, all of the mortal races went extinct. And then after about excuse me. And then after about a millennia, give or take, plus or minus a couple hundred years or something, Brianna and Ethos restored the world to
Exactly 1 year after the Demon War.
and that's where
That's roughly a few weeks to months before your adventures in Millstone began.
right, because yeah, I remember leaving the circus, and then I remember meeting up with Tomas. So that's the line of events. No other fuckery has happened.
I still don't really understand, so... When did we come into existence?
Sounds like a year. Sounds like fairly recently.
There's slight differentials between each of you, but over the course of several months, finalized process was put in place, everybody was more or less put into a stasis at the point where they were set to resume their lives, and everything kicked off, as I said, either a few weeks or a few months before the events at Millstone.
So, okay.
Technically speaking, if you want to go by the most literal sense of when you were created, all of you are within a few months of each other of age. But all your bodies are still at the natural appropriate ages they would have been at this point in time.
Going by birthdays, I'm 1 year old.
I guess we all are.
Zyces mentioned a whole lot of bits that I'm still kind of trying to put together, but
Yeah.
I kind of keep going back to like the things that are different here that I trying to figure out what happened then and what did not happen then. Like the Demon Lord's statue, we're supposed to be brought back after the Demon War. Did his statue fuck off the first time around too?
No, that was a genuine surprise. He was pretty stuck there for about 1,000 years.
But you're telling us, looking at a Mauve, that hero number 7 was not what we thought it was.
Correct. That is the story that was spread through rumor. At least during the time of the war.
The first one.
Yes, the war only happened once. All
Yeah.
this time resumed about a year after the war ended, canonically.
Just checking.
Yes, Reiner didn't betray us.
Wait, so then what are all these demons running around here now?
Yeah, could they have?
Re-emergences as he's becoming more and more active, and that the other 6 sins had been slowly waking up, creating
Did they wake
small
up as a
portals
response
for
to
others
us?
come through. It's quite possible. It required a lot of energy from Brianna and Ethos to set things back into motion. The barriers between us and the Abyss were already relatively thin after the incursion.
So we're okay. So we have the souls of our originals within us. Well, most of us. Where we were, in terms of soul ages, we're just all brand new.
Yes.
So we're new souls with the memories maybe a bit modified of our originals.
Yes.
The
You
originals.
were new souls created from the reserves that Brianna had left available to her.
And we were created because those specific souls needed a housing vessel, which was her plan to eventually get us around to collecting, which we did.
It was determined that the best means to recover all the souls that had been trapped on the mortal plane was to recreate them using... What's the proper term? This new and slightly improved mortal bodies that would be able to house both their new souls and the originals.
Improved?
Yes, there were... After what happened with Tiamat, Ethos and Brianna had put limitations on what the mortal body was able to withstand to prevent gods from tampering with mortals and to prevent any of them from coalescing too much divine energy that another being like her might exist on the mortal plane. But with the advent of what happened, that limitation would end up being a problem for what Brianna and Ethos were discussing. Both of their plans required more divine energy be containable within a single mortal frame. So they made some changes. Made mortals more or less more able to house that kind of divine energy with less repercussions.
Another question. How long
Sure.
has Eber been a god? How did that happen?
To my knowledge, I haven't exactly been up to date on most of these things, so she looks towards Cornelius. To my understanding, he is on the same boat that myself, Amove, Lynn, and one or two others are on, and that they are a bit of new blood, though not as much as our new dwarven friend. It appears that he's one of the few recreations that managed to ascend to godhood.
With a lot of assistance. Fucker.
So you all were, well,
We are some of the last. Well, we were among the last of the mortals, but
okay.
apparently, once you ascend, you no longer count amongst those numbers.
So the original mortals either became gods or became cultists, eh?
Yes, those were really the only two means under which people could reliably survive. Cindergate was the closest, but we didn't make the necessary precautions against something like greed.
So what ended up wiping everyone out? Was it that virus that Mika has been Mika's been
He
talking
nods
about,
his
or
head
was
at that.
It was the plague that took Cindergate out. Greed was trying to, at least it said, it was trying to find a way to get more power to think about it, basically.
Not entirely improbable, but I doubt his reasoning was all too altruistic in the end, considering the lengths that it ended up going to.
If it was trying to spread the plague because if it could make more people into automatons, then it could use it to think harder.
Yes, exactly. But to answer your question, Reeves, yes, the plague wasn't an isolated event in Cindergate. Anybody left alive after the war eventually succumbed to it, unless they had means to escape, such as ascension or the methods utilized by the cult.
Hooking up with demons, basically.
That and it sounded like, based on what Ethos described, that they had a method of transferring the uncorrupted portions of their souls to a new body temporarily. Though that ended up only buying them so much time.
I just need to check if Sam understands real quick.
Sure.
So, essentially, 1,000 years ago, Demon War happened.
Yep.
Things were so shitty for 1,000 years that the only way to like survive was to join the demons and become cultists or become a god.
Yep.
And so Brianna and Ethos are like, hey, we're gonna fix this.
It just took a fucking long ass time. Yep.
They wiped the Minecraft server and restarted from scratch, pixel by pixel.
Wait, so did those 1,000 years actually like progress, and then after 1,000 years they were like, LOL, let's restart? Or
It's described as it took them 1,000 years to come up and execute the plan.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
was
they
that
had.
happening during that time?
They basically had to rebuild mortal society and make it mirror up to a specific point in time exactly.
They had to dig through all the data logs to find the last usable save state.
Basically,
Because
yeah.
think about it, all your cities and everything are in the exact same state they were in before too, barring a few like weird exceptions that were throwing people off.
Like Cindergate.
Like Cindergate that they couldn't touch, and the city under the mountain that you guys went to with Reebs's sin.
Okay. My brain is struggling, man.
The world actually
Yeah.
did end. There were very few survivors, and they've had to, rebuild it from scratch and then
So, like,
unpause it at the
things-
exact time.
Things have been in stasis for that 1,000 years, though.
Time has been progressing. The gods did everything in their power to make it seem like time had not progressed.
So the human survivors during that time, did they just like have like
Yeah.
lots of little cultist babies?
Don't think they could
From
have
what
babies.
that has not been explained.
Okay.
Because spirits don't reincarnate anymore. So
Yeah.
can cultist babies even come to exist?
Reese
That's
will
a big
probably
question, isn't it?
Reese will bring it up in character. Reese will pipe up and be like, "So how did this cultist survive all this time?"
Likely using that method Ethos described. If they're transferring themselves to non-mortal bodies, they wouldn't exactly be aging. It's just a matter of how long they can keep that up before they go insane. Considering how few there were left by the time they came back into emergence, it didn't look like they had found a way to bypass the limitations of Brianna and Ethos no longer being in the heavens.
Hmm. Were the So Ethos was saying they were doing all this to stop a second demon war. Cephas flat out lying to get us off of his back, because he was hunting the sins originally, wasn't he?
Yes, the current conditions of all of our godfall is to wipe out the 7 sins so that the mortal realm can go back to a stable state and we might all ascend to the heavens without worry of another calamity. So he very much does intend to wipe out the demon host as far as I can tell.
And without the virus, like that's the only thing that needs to be done.
Correct. Once
Hey,
the mortal realm is back in a stable state, we are free to ascend.
Speaking of ethos and things, do you remember when he was kind of bragging about him being the one responsible for what went down with Argith?
I don't think he was
Yes.
bragging. I think he was just stating as a matter of fact.
But yeah.
Well, Xyces seems to think that that's not something he can do, and that he's getting his leg pulled.
Cornelius ponders on that for a second. It is a possibility, considering your mystery friend, if he is what he says he is. Depending on the time window during which they acted, it's possible they might have been able to alter our perceived knowledge, at least the perceived knowledge of anything trapped in a mortal body. And considering how unorthodox some individuals are able to apply their skills, i.e., he gestures over in Lynn's direction. With a creative enough application, it's quite possible somebody with a domain such as lost knowledge could find a way to make sure that knowledge of given individuals was never found, so long as they wished it was the case.
So you're saying it was probably that lost knowledge guy?
He certainly is the most suspicious one, considering what's going on.
Can I ask what might be a dumb question here?
Go ahead.
Where is the last hero?
He'd be in roughly the same place that you found the other 5. Trapped inside of his sin.
Okay. So you weren't keeping tabs on him this time.
Well, he was pinned to a mountain for a long while.
Yes, and he is, by his nature, a little bit harder to track down than the others.
I would think a giant.
As far as we can tell, the demon host is able to slip between the abyss and the mortal plane at will. It's likely he's not even here right now, or else Ethos and Nara would have been able to track him down by now. And Nara nods at that. If he's hiding on the mortal plane, I have no idea how he's doing it. But I have my sensors keeping an eye out for any spike in demonic energy.
Well,
Though granted, the readings everywhere have been slowly ticking up. It seems like it's getting closer and closer to inevitable of when he'll return.
but so were you? So you can't track him because he's zipping in and between places. But are you able to track Argith when she's not here? Is she not trackable because she's been forgotten?
Nara shakes her head. I've tried just about anything I still have access to, but the second she leaves my eyesight, the concentration on the spell breaks.
So it's probably the same for our lost knowledge friend then.
Likely the case.
And so there's probably no chance Reiner and lost knowledge guy are the same guy.
Very likely not. Though things are weird enough that it could be a possibility.
I'd rather track one than two, but wishful thinking, I guess.
If he's trapped within his sin, it's probably not him.
Enough weird shit has happened. I take.
There's still rules to this.
There's still rules, but
Hey, I've heard stories before where, like, the last part of someone's justice, like, breaks out and does their own thing and tries to undo the evil they've caused.
Your stories are really weird, Lana.
Well, no, it was really meaningful and really touching, and it was a story about atonement. Never mind.
Sounds hokey.
Sounds fun.
Who else is gonna raise his hand? and he's got his nastiest, darkest sneer on his face. He's like, I got a question for you guys. Did you all realize that you're all fucking audacious fuck? Who the fuck do you think you all are? You think you just come up in here and do whatever the fuck you want? We lived our lives, we died, we failed, and you're just like, yeah, come back and fix our shit. And then we learn that fucking Ethos, who's supposed to be the king fuck of them all, doesn't even know what the fuck he's doing because he thinks, oh yeah, I fucked up Argus, but he didn't. And then you don't even know where all of you are. You don't even know that Reese's fucking aunt exists. Do any of you actually know what the fuck you're doing? Or are you just playing the puppeteer of our goddamn lives, thinking you can do whatever the fuck you want? Yeah, that's my question.
What would you have preferred as an alternative, Tomas?
Just let me die. I already did it once. Leave me. Why could you not have just left it alone? Or left me alone? You know, everybody else seems perfectly fine dealing with this shit. Like, you guys are accepting this great. Wow, that's amazing. But, fucking hell. I already failed once. Why are you gonna make us go through it again?
So, Nara's gonna pull the pipe out of their mouth for a second and tap the ashes out of it. And look over in your direction, Tomas. So that's it. You think you're the only person that doesn't like how it happened, so because we can't think of a better alternative, we should just give up on everything? That we should just let everything here turn to dust and give up?
I think you're all some ballsy motherfuckers who decided to take away the free will of some people. What choice did I have in this? You bring us back and then expect us to be like, no, we can't
Reese's-
help you.
Reese is gonna turn to Tomas, look at him dead in the eyes, and say, "First time."
What?
That's exactly what happened to me to make me even exist, Tomas. What do you think I've been dealing with this entire time? Listen, they brought everything back from nothing. They gave people that wanted another chance. It just so happens that maybe you were part of a giant grab bag when they were trying to restore the world to what it was. This is about everybody.
Also, you seem pretty content to go along with this before they finally pulled the wool from our eyes.
Content, Reeves, you thought I was content. I did it because I had to. I didn't want to fucking be here.
You could have said no.
When? When, Reeves?
At any point, Tomas.
Oh. But you don't get it. They put this goddamn responsibility that we never fucking asked for on our shoulders, and then, yeah, go ahead. Say no. But it's against the greater good if you do. You're a terrible person if you do. Like, it's all well and dandy that we're gonna save the world and help everybody, but don't think for a second that there's like any goddamn good conscience underneath it. They did what they had to do and they used us for it. We're pawns.
They had to watch the world die, Tomas.
Greaves, we did too, but we don't remember it.
Tomas?
Yeah, Mika?
If they had asked you at the end, if they knew they could do this ahead of time, if they had asked you if there was even a slight chance to bring Keltasi back, would you have turned them down then? If I had known that there might even be a chance to bring Syndicate back, I wouldn't have turned it down.
Honestly, Mika, I probably wouldn't have, but that's the gist, isn't it? They didn't even ask. I get it. They didn't know they could do it, but they made the choice for us.
Hate to break it to you, but we didn't have any choice in existing in the first place.
Yeah, I guess you're not wrong there.
Yeah.
Well, I know I accepted Brianna's offer back in Millstone because I thought I could do something more than what I was doing. For my frame of reference for what my existence was, I chose that.
Yeah, I accepted it because I was walking this world without my city, without my people again, wanting nothing but to die. But guess I was just too much of a coward then. Should have offed myself in the beginning.
Tomas, would you shut up?
I agree.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm
You
done.
guys, during this conversation, I want you to all know that I don't know if Wolf is at a table, but we're just gonna imagine he's at a table. Hold on, before you guys laugh. He's actually gonna slam his hand on the table very loud.
Wolf is actually here.
Hold on! Jesus Christ!
Let the man speak.
He's gonna slam his hand on the table to the point where it might rattle the whole room. I don't know who would react. And he's gonna stand up for a moment and look at his entire party. And he's gonna stop for a moment and close his eyes and kind of lay his head down, as if trying to collect his thoughts. He's gonna look at all of you and then look at the whole room. My trauma doesn't even come from a source of demons. I don't even know what this world has come to. I barely know who I am at this point. Then look at Tomas. My world was taken from me by sources that weren't demonic. It was just pure, complete, negative individuals. So I think we can all stand for a moment, try to change something. Wolf, I mean, you could respond to him. He's probably not going to react to it or respond back, but he's just going to slowly sit back down and kind of just keep listening.
Well said.
I think Wolf is the only one in this group that might have lost thing, or he might not be actually. I don't know.
Reese lost everything.
But it wasn't due to the invasion. His trauma comes from. Matt, does Wolf even know it was his father at this point? Oh yeah, no, because my uncle mentioned it, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
your uncle brought it up.
That's kind of all Wolf's gonna put in at the moment because he's kind of simmering over here.
Well said, Wolf. That's about where I am at.
Tomas?
What, Lana?
After everything we've fought together, after all this time, how dare you try to put this on them now and say that and say that they shouldn't have brought you back. How dare you try to blame them for any part of what's happening? We have a chance to fix things and at least bring life back, and you're gonna sit here and complain about it?
Lana, I think fully that you are a wonderful and beautiful soul. And the fact that you are more than willing to do that without hesitation, without even with being manipulated, you think it's okay and you're willing to go along with it. I think that is a beautiful thing. I'm not that good of a person, Lana.
We're not being manipulated, Tomas!
We have been! I don't understand how you guys don't see that. Like, yeah, it's all great and wonderful that we are here and saving the world, but at the end of the day, we have still been manipulated into it. To some extent, we had no choice. We had our free will of it taken away. And yeah, I'll keep going. I'll keep helping them. I'll still save the goddamn fucking world with you guys. But I don't understand how you guys aren't more angry about it. And like,
Mine's
yeah,
easy. Because I've known I've been created by a god for a while now.
Look, I'm not gonna say that swallowing that is easy, but again, I could have said no at the very beginning. I
That and
didn't.
everything we've learned, it's creepy and crazy and it's a lot to take in, but it doesn't change who I am. It doesn't change the things that brought me to this point. It doesn't change the fact that dealing with envy and freeing the real original Lana from that, if anything, it just makes me feel better about having been able to do that.
Cornelius,
Yes.
you spent quite a bit of time with Brianna.
Yeah, to an extent, yes.
When we were created, her invitation to us, were we, I guess you could say, I guess the technical term is programmed to accept?
Well, considering only about half of the people invited showed up, I would say no.
So there were actually more people that could have showed up in Millstone.
If what she said was to be believed, yes.
And they
I know
had
my
it.
candidate certainly didn't.
So the choice to even go to the Millstone in the first place was ours.
Oh.
Tomas, if you're scared about shouldering this responsibility, it is scary. I'm terrified of shouldering this burden. But I'm willing to do so because it's right, and I'm willing to do so because I have all of you with me.
From atop her perch, Nara lets out another puff of smoke. You're free to be pissed off about the situation. If you asked any person in this room, none of them are exactly happy with it. Though granted, Certain individuals have more of a reason to be than others. But like it or not, you've been given a second chance to do what you could have done back then, without any of the burdens placed upon you by that curse. What you do from here on out is your choice. But I've seen what you've all gone through, though, so far. You don't have to say anything now, Tomas. But I want you to think about what you've done. All you've accomplished so far, and tell me if you weren't given that opportunity again, if you wouldn't take it to stand where you're standing right now and do what you did to get there. Take a long, hard look inside of yourself and tell me you would have left them there because you'd rather be dead.
Yes, I got it.
Are we done here?
Unless you have any more questions, we can probably take a break. I can imagine it's a lot to take in.
Why now?
Excuse me?
They rebuilt the whole thing. Why start it now and not before the whole war? Why not just stop the whole war in the first place?
As I mentioned before, we couldn't be sure that dealing with the seven sins wouldn't have led to voiding the condition. Up until we kicked everything back off, we didn't even realize any of the cultists were still alive. Without Nara, it was impossible for us to tell to any extent that even that kind of magic could have existed. Let alone any of them would have enough willpower to actually survive off it for 1,000 years.
Alright.
As for the two gods involved in trying to end it, Ethos needed soldiers, and Brianna needed people capable of taking up the mantle she had prepared for them. Anybody else have questions they want to raise, or?
Hey, Nara, speaking of all this, when we first came to you about the whole copies of ourselves thing, you got really, really mad. But we couldn't understand what was going on because everything was God packed it out at the time. What exactly set you off like that?
Let's just say I thought it was 1372 too.
Oh.
Apologies again on that one. After not being able to spill the beans for so long, I kind of forgot I could. She just glares at him from atop the pedestal.
I have some other things that I have other things I want to talk about, but I'm a little too pissed off at the moment.
That is fair.
If you'll excuse me, he'll just glare up at Tomas and then just shuffle his way downstairs.
When Reeves glares at him, Tomas is gonna flip him off.
Reese is going to approach Wolf and put a hand on his shoulder.
You're gonna catch him by surprise, and he's gonna look up at you.
Reese is gonna smile.
Is it just a smile?
Just a smile.
Wolf won't smile for a moment and nod to you, Reese, and then he will smile back.
Reese is just gonna nod at Wolf, squeeze his shoulder.
Wolf is gonna gladly accept the comfort, and then how close is Tomas to Wolf? Would you say?
He's probably towards the edge of the observatory against the wall, like the brooding motherfucker he is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, Wolf is gonna move back to Tomas for a moment. He's gonna stand also in an edgy way with him and act like he's brooding with him for a moment. Not trying to cheer him up or anything, but... And he's just gonna say... Tomas, I get it. We're all angry. But we need to use that anger in a productive way. And this way, it's not productive.
How tall is? That's a funny question. Tomas is short as fuck.
Wolf is
Wolf is taller than Wolf is taller than Reese, and Reese is 6 foot.
Yeah, I keep making Tomas shorter every time I try to remember how tall he is. So like
He's gonna end this campaign at like 4'8".
honestly.
Fucking halfling.
Tomas is just gonna give Wolf a wry smile, and he's like, "You're practically a baby wolf. You're not supposed to be fucking right. But sometimes that unproductive anger just feels so fucking good." Oh,
Feels even better when you use it correctly.
I'll apologize to everybody later. I just probably need some time screaming at the trees,
Yeah. Embrace the brooding for now. It's a good look.
Oh, thanks, Wolf. Yeah, don't think I forgot about what you talked about during that fight. There's gonna be some talks that happen. Just, after I scream at trees.
We'll just give a firm nod, pat Tomas on the shoulder, and move back to his seat or whatever his spot was.
While that's happening, Reese is actually going to approach Lana
Mm-hmm.
and just hold his arms out like he's offering a hug.
Lionel's just kind of moving and give him a gentle little hug, and she's like, I am fine. Just got a little worked up with Tomas ranting. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Yeah, you're probably used to this by now.
Yep.
Who wants to talk about the problems? I don't. I do. I know, Reese. I'm sad. I know, Reese.
He's like, it's kind of weird being on this end of it.
I'd probably be a bit more shaken up myself, but when I was meditating and talking with Sarah as often as I do, at a certain point I just kind of resolved that no matter what our situation is, it doesn't change anything. Doesn't change the fact that I'm here, that I have a chance to make things right. So that's
very
what I'm
you,
holding
Lana.
on to.
That's very you. Hold on to that. Is everybody pissed? Reese just like looking around.
Well, Reeves left the room.
Mika's kind of staring at the orrery in the middle.
Yeah.
She's gonna
Most
kinda-
of the other hands are kind of like in shell shock about all the discussions.
Mika actually wanted to say something kind of over to Amove.
Sure.
Kind of quietly, like, if we can fix this, can we fix Cindergate? Actually fix. Not more automatons.
Yeah, I think we learned our lesson there, but it'll take some effort and time, but once everything's sorted out, I imagine someone will.
Right.
She kind of just rubs her thumb across her knuckle for a second. As much as I wish I'd be able to join them, I guess I have certain obligations now. But it's probably for the best that someone does. The new world could use a Cindergate.
I think so. She'll kind of turn around real quick and quick walk out.
The Kasses seem to be discussing some things amongst themselves before the three of them, other than Cornelius, flicker their images out of existence to return to their work back in Kasses Hall. And slowly everybody else begins to scatter.
After a few minutes of hugging with Lana, Reese is going to approach Cornelius.
How are you holding up with all the new information, Reese?
I'm fine. He's going to hug Cornelius.
Well, I suppose you do have a bit more experience with this than the others, and he just pats you on the top of the head. With his good arm, at least.
Yeah, a little bit. Most of it's fueled by spite at this point, though. Glad to have you back, though.
I'm
Lana
glad
would
to
have
be
kind
back
of
and
trailed
finally be of
behind.
use.
Lana just like, how are you doing, by the way? Like, with the whole, physically. How are you doing physically? Feeling okay?
Luckily, we have quite the number of talented healers in our midst, so I can thank you for having such good friends on that front. Feels a bit weird. It's gonna be hard to get used to that, but beats the company of being in Lord Eber any longer.
He's kind of a huge jackass.
Oh, he's a massive prick. I hate
Yeah.
the man.
Same. I think I
Perfect.
hate him more than anybody else, actually.
I
That
mean,
seems to be a universal feeling from what
He-
I've seen.
he makes himself a pretty easy target.
I kind of want to murder him slowly, painfully.
Yes, unfortunately, murder is the one thing he is exceedingly good at.
I just want him to shut up and go away. That's
Reese is gonna reach out and just gently ruffle his hair.
just like, that's as close as Lana's gonna get to wishing death on someone.
That's fair.
Unfortunately, our world is a cruel and unjust one.
Yes.
Oh, I wouldn't say unjust. And she just kind of punches her own hand. Just means someone hasn't done the job in a little bit.
Lana never change.
Cornelius smiles at that. Ah, yes. I had forgotten who I had been speaking with. My apologies, dear.
I suppose we should check on the rest.
Well, I'll go check on Reed if you want to go check on one of the others.
Or he's gonna glance at Tomas for a moment and be like, I'll go check on Mika.
Fucking got him.
Alright,
yes.
ready break. Morale squad.
Good luck. I'll keep helping the others try to get things in order for once things calm down a bit.
Do you want to go
After I get
first?
some fucking rest. He
Ve-
just wanders off.
Rest well. I'll bring you a bottle of wine later.
How does Reese have so much wine stashed?
He's Reed.
Because he has sleeves that hold infinite amounts of liquor.
Did he actually have to stuff the infinite amount of liquor in there first, or they just generate liquor?
It doesn't generate
kinda
liquor. He buys them.
Yeah, he just kind of nicks the bottles every time they show up. Also, his god shows up with wine delivery every so often.
Okay, there's that.
He follows the god of like wine and parties.
Okay, granted. I just thought like he had like an infinite tap up his arm or something.
Oh no! He buys all the bottles. He
Okay,
gives
okay.
people.
Oh, mechanically, before I forget, if you haven't added it to your sheet since the session wasn't exactly open since then, another 400 GP to each of you.
Oh, okay. I already did
shit.
that when I did stuff.
And you did pay us for greed because Mika has 300. There's no way she would have had otherwise.
You said
Yeah, I'm
400
at
GP?
401, so I'm gonna assume I haven't been paid.
400 gold.
And as I discussed, y'all got some item unlocks that need to be distributed.
I already put my request in there.
People can make the requests first. I was looking at 12 and 11 level items, and nothing was really jumping out to me, so I'll go last.
It's 12 and 13 now.
Yeah, I was looking at 12 and 13 level items, and nothing was really jumping out to me. So people.
Well, I guess we
people
just
can go
throw
first.
it all into armor runes.
I had a hella upgrade that I could get, so I was requesting a 13th level one.
I wouldn't mind a 12th level one just to keep Lana topped up on her armor primary runes, but it's not really like a big deal.
I'm sorry,
Yep.
what was that?
Be aware, with a 12th level slot, you can get +2 armor or a greater striking weapon.
I have both of those.
Gotcha. Oh, Reeves has +2 dice?
I believe I do.
Wait,
Huh?
I should have the greater striking, right? I think.
Wait, do I?
Greater striking is the level 12 rune.
Armor
That
potency
adds a
plus
second
2 is
dice.
level 11.
Pull up.
I think I already have my armor upgrade.
I think we got you yours. Mika doesn't have hers yet, but she's been working toward it.
Skeleton key is still on
I do.
striking. Hold up, crossbow is still on striking. Greater striking is +2 dice instead of +1 dice.
And that's available to us now?
Yep, it is a... Oh, it's only a 130 gold increase.
Oh.
Damn it.
That's just fucking dirt cheap.
Wait,
Okay.
really? That doesn't sound right.
I have
Really?
1,065 written down for greater striking, so...
Oh, sorry. No, it's 1,000 for the striking rune. Okay.
Why can't I?
What level
They
is that?
changed the way the runes are formatted. And it fucked me
Hey.
up for a second.
Hey Matt, I
What's
can't
up?
change the unidentified sword's properties, which I assume is Dawnblade.
Yes, hold on.
I feel really dumb. I can't find those items again.
I don't
There you go.
remember
Thank you, sir.
what is it that we're doing right now.
So you can get like a 12th or 13th level item. I requested to get one so I could get like an
So-
upgrade to one of my magic items.
So 12th can be greater striking?
Yep.
And this is
Greater striking runes are a 12th level item. They cost 1,000 gold to get on their own, and it gives you a second extra weapon dice.
Okay, Lana's gonna want one of those.
Yeah, Reeves. Yeah, since Reeves doesn't have one of those yet, he will want one of those, or at least the material equivalent to upgrade his crossbow and whatever skeleton key needs.
Yeah.
So we have 4 total, you said?
You have 3 level 12s and 3 level 13s.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah, that's free real estate right there.
Am I good to have my 13th level one?
I think you're fine. Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
never ask for stuff, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a 12 on that one.
Cool.
I'll also take a 12 since it benefits me.
Alright. Any complaints on 2 level 12s being taken?
What is all available again?
We currently have 2 13th level slots and 3 12th level slots. Kevin and Sephi have asked for 12th level slots so they can upgrade their weapons.
Yeah. Yeah. Where the hell is
Alright,
where did you
so
post
you now have,
this? I remember you doing it.
Redeemer's
okay.
planning.
Man, it's so satisfying just running around the village wire bugging.
Yeah.
Say, Mika's just gonna stuff the cash into getting her armor potency 2 rune. Don't even need an item slot for that, I don't think.
What was that?
Say, Mika's just gonna be dumping her cash into upgrading her armor, so.
Oh yeah, how much does plus 2 armor cost?
1060?
900.
Oh, 900 now?
Okay.
It's 900 to upgrade it from the first armor potency to the second armor potency.
Oh, that's cheaper than I had then. I had
So-
1060 written down.
Probably after
Yes,
our
that's the
next
total
quest.
cost of the armor potency. It includes the first level rune that you already own in it.
Oh,
Okay.
good to know. That makes it a lot easier.
Next time we get paid, that's probably on Lana's hit list then.
Mm-hmm.
Matt,
Yeah.
how much does it cost to just flat pay to upgrade your weapon?
It is 900 to upgrade. Sorry. You already have a +2 weapon?
Yeah.
Okay, it is 1,000 gold to go from striking to greater striking.
Oh.
Okay.
If
Who
it's
did we
internet's
lose?
giving her shit.
Oh, okay.
I'd just like to upgrade it to the +2 then,
Uh,
or the greater striking.
okay, yeah. So you have 1,000 gold.
Oh no, with the level 12 thingy.
Alright. Any complaints with the third weapon slot being Tomas's greater striking?
Fine.
Yep, fine with me.
Okie dokie.
For my setup, do I do both my things at once?
Yeah, skeleton key and all the crossbows.
Oh yeah, I should probably do that for my Silver Steel gauntlets too.
Yep. Alright. Wolf or Mika, since you haven't gotten anything yet, would you like to get anything with the 13th level item slots? You can either get a 13th level magical item with them, or if you just want to use them on greater striking runes, you can technically use them for that as well.
I cannot find that list of like where I got my bands of athleticism and shit. I thought it was worn items.
Oh.
Say,
Yes. Worn
I'm an
items,
idiot.
power bands.
I found it.
say Mika doesn't even have her potency 2 weapon rune yet, the level 10 one, because she's still been working toward that. So I haven't even looked at items. She never uses them. Like she never remembers to use the stupid things when she's got them. So if
Yeah.
Wolf wants the other 13, I'm perfectly fine with that.
There are 2 13s left.
I would, if you don't have a plan for it, I would strongly suggest just getting a greater striking rune with it.
Can I do
'Cause-
that without having the +2 rune yet?
They're apparently
Oh.
separate chains now.
Oh,
Oh
What?
really? Oh.
I'm checking, but I
'Cause-
believe.
because yeah, I put like no fundage into the potency +2 yet, so.
Wibbles.
Talk about how like all the weapon property runes are for melee weapons.
Wait, is that the 13 or the 12?
You can use the 13th level slot on a greater striking rune if you do not have anything at level 13 you want.
What I
Since
missed?
purely 13 items aren't amazing from what I saw.
Bro,
They're like
you kidding me?
niche.
Boots of speed and Hellfire boots?
Hellfire boots are very edgy.
Seems a Wolf kind of thing.
If you would like Hellfire boots, you are free to get Hellfire boots.
No, but Does Mika need the 13 for that rune? Or am
Um,
I mishearing?
You have 2 of those items left. If you want to use a 13, Mika can have a 13 of her own.
I thought, did I mishear that Reese was using one of those?
I am
Yes,
using a
I already
13.
removed that.
Oh, gotcha. Oh,
2 left between the 2 of you.
You
um,
essentially have free real estate because
uh,
wanted the baby levels.
Matt, I just
Mm.
looked at the price increase to go from striking greater to weapon potency 3.
Yeah.
This was for Matt. This was for a 5th level wand, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll have to get back to you on the item thing. If I'll either find an item like a Warren thing she can use, or I'll do the greater striking for her if that's a separate track from the potency too.
The
Yeah.
slot is yours. You don't have to decide now. But
Yeah, I'll figure it out later. To not hold shit up.
So you have your 13 as well, Wolf. You can either use that in a potency rune or one of those worn items you were looking at.
I don't think I can use a potency rune. I need a +3, don't I?
Is your weapon not already +2?
It's +2.
Oh no,
so
your
what-
weapon is +2, but it's not greater striking, which would give it a 4th damage. It would give it a 3rd damage dice.
That sounds kind of broken.
It's progression. You don't have to give me an answer now if you want to think on it, but those are your options.
Okay.
So feel free to think on that.
Alright.
So, we are now going to be in a downtime week as everybody recovers from the God Slapfest and starts figuring out what your options are from here. If you want to talk to any characters, we can do that. If you want to do any shopping, any exploration, we can do that here. Anybody that you discussed as being exempt from recruitment, you can pick up now. Nara is not going to try to earn back stepmom brownie points by saying you can fit the entirety of Aliva Alari inside of the tower. She doesn't have the resources for that.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, Lana has a couple things on her hit list for the downtime week.
Mm-hmm.
So is Reese.
Yarp.
I actually had like a whole like fucking bit planned to have Lana convince everyone to go pick up her siblings, but that turned out to be excessive force.
Tomas and Reeves were going to have a thing where if Lana refused to have them kidnapped, they were gonna kidnap them.
Oh yeah. No, Lana was just gonna be like, no, they can help. They're receiving some training. They'll be useful. They're worth the resources to
So-
host them here.
So Reeves' plan was to pick up cooking and bake cookies and have Tomas lace them with sleeping poison.
Fucking brilliant.
Perfect.
Y'all are gremlins.
Reeves is literally a gremlin, it's true.
No, he's a goblin, okay?
Okay.
Let's not get racist.
Yeah.
Those are 2 different things. But, is there anything anybody would like to do during their downtime?
Talk to Argith and go pick up Lana's siblings.
Hala, which one do you want to do first?
Probably talk to Argith. That'd probably happen the same day.
Alright. So I imagine you're just tracking her down somewhere in the tower after... Or are you talking to her like immediately after the meeting ends?
Probably like an hour after the meeting ends, when Lana's kind of recovered and all that.
Alright. She mostly seems to be sticking into the observatory itself, so it's less effort to remind people that she's there. But as you approach, she gives you a quick, tired nod and says, "Good evening, Lana. How are you holding yourself together?"
Well, about the same as usual, I guess. How about you? I didn't get to see it firsthand, but I'm hearing that you kind of got put through some stuff back in Varu.
Eber certainly lives up to his domain, but Nothing that won't heal. To think that man could be so much of a challenge. Even as one of the newer gods.
Probably takes to his domain pretty good if I had to guess.
Yes, he certainly does adapt to it very well. And it helps that he has quite a powerful artifact at his command.
Oh yeah, that sword then, right?
Yes, royal authority.
I just came by because I was just kind of curious. Did you send when Mother Generous was picking up all the gods as people for this whole thing? You planned for me to pick that up, right?
I was aware of her plan, but as you might imagine, efforts to communicate with her for any extended period of time weren't exactly helpful.
Hmm.
So I had to deliver the letter myself.
What's that mean?
Unlike most of the others, where Brianna's agents placed letters in ways that would get to them, I tracked down where you were and placed it in a location that you might find it. I imagine your arrival came as a surprise to Brianna.
Yeah,
I
you
made
could
sure
say
that
that.
she had signed off on it beforehand, so she would recognize it was one of hers.
Huh. That's pretty forward thinking of you.
Sometimes you have to get creative, but I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah. One thing has been kind of hanging me up though, and I get the feeling I probably already asked you this before in a different. I get the feeling the other Lana probably already asked this one of you too, but how come I'm the one that's here? Surely you've got stronger or smarter followers who could have showed up. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm thankful for the chance, but if there's one thing that's been kind of bothering me since day one, it's kind of just wondering how a dumb kid like me got this far, you know?
Sometimes it's not the strongest or the smartest person that you need. I stand by my original decision, Lana. You've proven to me every step of the way that you are the right person to recommend.
As long as you don't feel like it was a mistake, I think I did all right then.
No, I'm glad that you were given this chance. Both for your sake and hers.
Hers?
The one you refer to as Sarah.
Oh, yeah. That's just to stop things from getting too confusing. Come to think of it, if she's the original, it's kind of messed up that she doesn't get the real name, huh?
I was literally just thinking that.
Well, let's put it this way. Would you be all that upset about it?
Probably not. I mean, a name's just a name.
Well, then I think you have your answer.
Fair enough. Hmm. So, what happens next? You still planning on sticking around here?
For the time being, that's probably for the best. Ethos seems to have some general awareness of my presence, for better or worse, but to be safe, it's probably best that I remain hiding here for the time being.
Hmm.
At most acting alongside you, lest anybody conveniently forget that I'm part of your pact.
That's true, that's true.
Considering how much everything's being replaced by the Silver Order, there's less and less work for me to do out there for the time being.
Guess they're doing something right then. That's mean to say. Ethos is doing the best he can, I guess. Speaking of Ethos, though, I got kind of curious after everything that happened. He thinks he's the one that did what he did to you? What exactly happened that caused him to feel he should?
I wish I had an answer for you.
Probably goes into the fact that he's getting his leg pulled on that one, huh?
Probably. It's hard to say for certain, though, without knowing all the cards in play.
Hmm. Well, whatever it is, I'm gonna do everything I can to set things right. But I get the feeling you don't exactly need me to say that.
I appreciate your assistance. I look forward to finding out the truth behind what happened. And you see her, like, reflexively crack her knuckles at that, just clenching her hand at her side for a moment.
Well, most people probably forget their grudges, but I get the feeling you've been holding on to this one for a little bit.
Let's just say I'm very curious what anybody decided I did was worthy of this particular crime that happened to be also very convenient to certain events.
Hmm. You mean like your domain getting handed off?
Exactly that.
Hmm.
If there was actually a reason, then I'll be more than happy to forgive them. But if this was all a ruse, let's just say that shields aren't used for defense. And only a
Matt.
fool would think
Oh,
that.
sorry.
What's up?
No, sorry, I didn't realize you weren't done. That's my bad.
No, that was it. Go ahead.
Okay. So refresh my memory. Back in the cave, when Lana was caught in the trance flashback,
Mhm.
Argeth said something about, like, when she was facing Envy, something about, like, doing right by both of them?
Yes.
Okay. Lana will bring that up and just be like, yeah, Lana will basically tell the story of kind of, like, you know, what happened in Zaices' cave and what she saw, and she's like, what was going on with all that? When you said both of them, you meant Master and Sarah?
She closes her eyes to think for a moment, but you see her wince. And you're sure you saw that in the tapestries?
I mean, I just saw it a couple hours ago, yeah.
I'm not sure. I'll have to see if Nara can bring us back that far, because I don't recall that event. I'm not entirely sure how much after the wipe from history was lost to me.
But you do remember traveling with the other me, right? And
Yes.
hmm,
Roughly
least
right
some of
up
it's
until
there.
your departure.
huh. Well, if you don't remember stuff after my departure, how come you knew that Envy was who they were?
I've had 1,000 years to kill. I've been looking into quite a few things.
Hmm. That's a long time to just be wandering around. Probably got pretty lonely.
You get used to it. You're not entirely sure you believe her.
Yeah. Fair enough, fair enough. Well, Lana will just kind of like give a little sympathetic frown at that and just go, well, whatever it was that did happen, I'm not stopping until it gets made right, so I'm gonna go back to my room and unpack today. Just, just take care of yourself, Argith, alright?
She offers you a weak smile and nods and says, I'll try.
And let me know if there's anything I can do to help. I imagine probably not, but, you know.
I'll let you know if anything comes up.
And with that, Lana will just kind of do her awkward end of conversation thing where she stands there for a moment too long and she's like, okay, well, take care then, Argith. I'll see you around.
Alright.
And that'll be that.
Leo, if you try to bite me again, I'm going to kill you.
Leo's gonna be the final boss of this campaign.
Yeah, when he fucking kills me and puts on the headset. There's all
Does-
ruse.
Does a nat 20 hit Leo? No.
And then your character gets deleted. Alright. Anybody else have anything they would like to do?
I would like to do a scene with Lynn.
Sure. Which day?
Would probably be the next day.
Alright.
Reeves would be in whatever room they were using for training. And he is repeatedly throwing his dagger and and after each throw he just kinda like goes like and then frowns when nothing happens.
As Skeleton Key blinks off the wall before teleporting back to your hand.
Basically.
After, like, you lost count about halfway up to 100, but a little bit after that, you hear somebody calling out from behind you saying, "Oh, I think you got closer that time." If you keep this up, you might master it within 100 years or so.
Oh, excellent. That is much more accelerated than my timeline of a whole millennia.
How you holding up, Reeves?
I've been kind of doing this on and off within the last evening / today, so take that as you will.
Fair enough.
Aside from so were this aside from Amove, whose circumstances are that, was there a reason none of the other 7 heroes could be brought back? I'm just wondering because if Krax was around, he might have been a better choice than me.
I wasn't exactly involved in the decision, but apparently the mindset was as far as the world was concerned, the 7 heroes were dead. Though any other politics involved beyond that, you'd have to ask Ethos and Brianna.
Fair enough. So, you and Nixie, 1,000 years?
Yeah, which probably helps explain why Nixie isn't taking it all that well.
You, weren't always in contact during that whole time?
We were for a bit, but let's just say we weren't twiddling our thumbs for a millennia. Lost contact for a bit, and by the time we met back up again, she wasn't exactly the same person I knew. By then, the plan had started circulating, and well, I think now you get a little bit better context on her disagreements with it.
Yeah. I guess her claim that I'm a fake weren't completely off base.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly the kindest way that she could put it.
Well, I'm not her Reebs, so to her that makes sense of what to call it.
Yeah, and she had a lot of time to ruminate on that thought. It wasn't exactly a healthy one.
Um. Yeah. Um. So yeah, part of the reason, I don't know. I guess I don't really know what to do at this point, aside from just carry on, carrying on. Like everything I said yesterday, I meant every word of it.
That's all we really can do at the moment until we find another opening. As much as he's being a prick about it, Ethos's goal seems to be currently our goal. Not
Yeah.
exactly a fan of the company he keeps or how he's doing it, but for the time being, it plays to be nice.
Well, it's better than the alternatives.
Yeah.
Like I don't like the effective non-choice he gave people, but it's either they accepted a non-choice from him or accepted a non-choice just from the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
It's
And
missed.
unfortunately, the votes eventually swung in his favor. Not exactly under the nicest of conditions, but
A few things that
unfortunately, there are certain people that you can't disobey once you're in positions like these.
fair enough. A few things have been bothering me though.
Shoot.
We forgot to confirm it at the time, but Cornelius already lost the time domain by the time by the time we found him in Veru.
Yeah.
Unless they were trying to extract all his other domains, whatever did made no sense.
Can't say I know the guy too personally, but considering his handiwork and how he's been handling things thus far, gods aren't exactly perfect people in the first place. And when you give somebody with a bit of ego the ability to delete his problems from existence, and suddenly those problems seem to be sticking around, seems to be getting to him. Better or worse.
Though, my point being is, if he was under orders from Ethos just to... If Ethos already got what he wanted from Cornelius, and the plan was to just give us Cornelius back, he went right up. He went against that.
Just because they're working with him doesn't necessarily mean they agree with every decision.
Mm-hmm.
He might have thought he could get away with it if he dealt with you all quickly enough.
That's fair. That's what concerns me, though. Like, Ethos seems earnest in what he's doing, so to the as far as we can reasonably do, we can trust him. The wild card in this situation, though, is Eber.
Unfortunately so.
Um,
I imagine at this point, if he breaks the contract that Ethos made, probably won't go over too well for him. Didn't seem like he was on the best of the terms after the fuck up.
Mm-hmm. Though, you know me, well, you know him, so you do know me. Whatever, it's confusing. I like having a contingency in my back pocket. So, if I'm able to tap into your domain, and do what you can do, that might give me better odds if we ever face off against him.
As long as you guys can stay out of his domain, you might eventually be able to take him down at this rate. Now granted, having something that can actually deal with his fuck you sword would probably help.
That'd be nice. But for now, I just want to get a handle on it. And I lost count at about 50 or so. I've been at this all morning. But
So, I imagine you're trying to do the blink.
it was a very cool maneuver. I want to do it.
I try. So, as I've been telling you, it's all about the mindset. So, if you really need to be somewhere else, say about within throwing distance of a dagger, what's really the difference between a bunch of space and a locked door? They're both stopping you from getting there in the time you need to be there. What if you just had, maybe, a shortcut? A little trick up your sleeve to get around it. Now, I can't really bend space or time. That's starting to get a little too close to the angry skeleton for my liking. But luckily there are places that already do that. And all you gotta do is just slip right in there just for a little bit.
Do I need to make an Arcana check to get the gist of what she's trying to convey?
Yeah.
30.
That's enough for the general location she's talking about. Like when she's referring to other places that behave with different laws of reality than the material plane. There's a couple tertiary planes that are overlapping with the material plane. There's the Feywild and Shadowfell, which are relatively close, other than the psychos that live there. So it's probably not one of those. There's the elemental planes, which are real fucked, and you typically don't live long in them. But there's the astral and the ethereal. And depending on what you're looking for, as long as you could find a way to navigate in them properly, you could use those for quickly traversing over long distances. The only matter is tracing your way back out to the proper location when you re-emerge.
Okay. Reeves will nod at what she's saying. As he's relating it to some of the textbooks that he's been borrowing from Avi. He's like, okay. So I know you described this as like a sort of a metaphysical concept, but is there any specific mechanics to it, or are you kind of just doing it based on intuition?
Mostly intuition. A little bit of divine shenanigans that might be a bit harder for you to copy on hand, but the theory is pretty practical once you get your mind wrapped around it.
Yeah. So I guess you're probably either traveling through the astral or the ethereal plane.
Yep, one of them. Can't remember which one though.
Well, considering the alternatives, probably one of those. And I don't know what difference it necessarily makes, but those are the safe ones. Safe.
Safe-ish.
So he's gonna flick skeleton key into his hand again. He's going to focus on a space, say, 20 feet in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to try his darndest to convince himself that the space is in some ways part is sort of oppressing him / it's a lock he needs to overcome.
Yep.
And he's going to throw his dagger.
Okay, let me just check something quick.
Okay.
Alright. So, you focus on that and throw your dagger and still eyes closed and focused on it, run off in the direction of the dagger, turn around and raise your hand to catch it, and you hear the sound of the dagger clink against the wall behind you.
Wait, behind him?
Yeah, you turned around to go catch the dagger, so it still flew in the same direction.
Oh, I see. He opens his eyes, just like, ugh.
Yeah, slipping into the plane's gonna be a difficult one. My existence is a little more loosey-goosey than yours, so that's a tricky one. Good luck with that.
Got any intermediate tricks I could maybe try? or beginner tricks.
Depends on what you're looking for. Oh, maybe. So remember that trick I tried on you that only worked on you? The brain lockpick?
Yes.
So without the God Seal fiddling with everything, that might actually be doable now, even for you.
I doubt I'm going to get some willing willing participants.
Yeah, that is going to be a little rough, but that's what self-study's for.
Uh
I'd go slow. Professional opinion, don't stab fast.
should we warn Zara?
Probably.
Okay, well you should probably supervise this.
Yeah, that one's still weird too.
Okay,
Try
let's-
real hard to just imagine anything afflicting you as chains keeping you down, and you're just gonna lockpick the thing away. You're right, supervision's probably a good idea for that one. Stabbing yourself to death at this point would kind of be a bad time.
yeah, it seems kind of productive. Okay, let's go find Zara and I'll practice stabbing myself. Or not stabbing myself.
Sounds like a plan.
Only
Alright,
Reeves.
and thus Reeves has started down the next path of chainbreaker training.
Huzzah!
So Reeves,
Yes.
how do you like the idea of being able to thievery check conditions off yourself and allies?
Holy shit, yes!
We'll have to see how long that takes.
Ooh.
But yeah, the blink strike would be like late, like implausible infiltration levels of late.
No, that's completely fair. Yeah.
It's also kind of a lead in into Reeves being able to do things like that, so.
No, I like it.
Alright. Because really, what is walking distance but the most insurmountable hurdles to existence? Why not do the smart thing and teleport through dimensions to avoid walking? Alright, anybody else have anything they would like to go over?
I do.
Tomas, shoot.
But I need a second real quick because I have to pee.
Okay.
While Tomas is peeing,
We.
Mika's honestly probably is going to spend the week doing the first couple days work on her armor and attempting the meditation stuff
Yep.
to try and talk to the masses in the head. And then
let me double check the list you
that's
I
gonna
think I forgot to give you a list. I don't remember.
say her list was pretty much Mika, Sois, and the Casas, but she's not gonna care about the Casas right now. So she's basically gonna check in with the clan and talk with Mika and Sois about things now that they can.
Alright, yeah.
But we can.
Do
That's
you
not
want to do
really-
that now, or do you want to do that in the text chat so we can go a little more in detail?
Probably text chat for that one.
Gotcha.
Then the rest of the week, she'll actually probably be helping Tomas most likely.
If you want to spend any part of the week crafting, give me that crafting check.
Okay. I know she was gonna dump the cash into the armor potency first off, so.
Yep.
And then everything else into the weapon too. Crafting check though. Where the heck is skills? There it is.
Hey.
Take that.
Alright. How many days are you working?
However long it takes her to finish off dumping the cash into the armor potency 2 that she was over halfway done with. And then making progress on the weapon potency too.
How much did you have left on your armor?
Armor, 288.
Alright, so finish that off. We'll start applying the remaining. Were you dropping all 400 on this?
Yeah, she's gonna drop, because she had some already still, she's gonna drop the 288 into the armor and then 400 in towards the armor, or the weapon potency one. Blow
Gotcha.
all the cash.
Mark, let's say 450 total towards it.
Cool.
So armor done, 450 towards the weapon.
Sweet. And she is now mostly broke again.
That's just life.
Yep. Yeah, everything else will be, yeah, text stuff, so not much else that she's got going on.
So Mika, while you're working in the shop, about halfway through the week, Zara comes into the smithy. And in either one of her hands, you notice that she is carrying a collar in each of them. For the first time in a long time, she is not wearing her collar around her neck. And she gives you a small head nod as she enters and says, "Do you have the facilities here to be able to melt this down?"
Unless they've got a lot of magic in them, I probably can.
No magic, just a lot of silver.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can do that, but is that okay? Weren't you not supposed to never take these things off or something?
That is the laws of the clan, yes, but I've had some interesting dreams since the seals were removed, and I can't say I can stomach the taste of these anymore.
That's probably fair.
So I thought the silver might be of better use to you and yours.
Could make something for you if you want it. Put this to better use.
I appreciate the gesture, but I'd prefer to never see it again. And as you look over the collar she's placed down, there's the pristine one that she had been wearing. And one that's been heavily rusted, beaten, and weathered over the long years. Still splattered with crusted blood. And you remember it as the collar that was being worn by Wrath.
It's gonna go look at Zara, look at the collars, and kind of nod and chuck them into the forge, or into the crucible she's got.
Alright. Mika, add 400 gold worth of pure silver to your treasure. You can distribute that amongst the party as you would like, or use it to forge something. Your choice.
Definitely, like, yeah, set it into whatever group fund it is for next time someone needs something forged.
Alright.
Figure out how to mark that somehow.
Alright. Once you get started on the job, Zara just puts her hand on your shoulder for a moment and says, "Thank you, dear. It's a great weight off my conscience.
It's a great
I never got the chance to thank you, but I appreciate you looking over the pups. God knows they probably would have killed themselves without you."
We all are They're definitely trying pretty hard, but I do what I can.
Well, you've been doing well so far. I guess you just have to keep that up.
No pressure, right?
Not at all. And then she heads back to the nurse station. Alright. Anything else from you, Mika?
Nope.
Alright. Tomas, I believe you had something that you wanted to go over.
Hi, I have two things. One of them is like mildly quicker.
Shit. Go for it.
Tomas is going to go to Nara
Mm-hmm.
and ask if she can take them to kill Tacy. And then if
Of
she's
course.
willing, he's going to spend the entire week working on the town hall.
As you're getting ready to head out after that, you hear Nara call out to you. Do you want me to come pick you up at night?
Do you have a way I could call you if I want to be picked up?
I believe your boyfriend has the ring. You should be able to borrow it from him. No guarantees if the others harass me enough to come get you. I'm not going to turn them away.
I was gonna think on that for a moment. He's gonna think about how angry Reese was at him, or seemed at him. He's like, just pick me up at the end of the week.
Run away from your
Alright.
problems. Don't address them. It's the Tomas way.
Yep.
Yep. So I imagine that'll slightly change the tone of you yelling at trees, right?
No, he's still gonna go yell at trees. He's just gonna yell
Oh
at trees at a
no,
different
he's
place.
gonna yell at trees, but he won't have been in the observatory at the start of it.
Yeah, I can fix that. I wrote that post while high anyways, you know.
Yeah.
Miko is actually
Alright.
going to join Tomas halfway through the week, too. When she's done with all the smithing things, she'll come join and help raise a hall.
Lana's not. She's too busy this week and thinks Tomas needs time alone anyway.
That is fair.
Okay. So, to my town hall rebuilding notes.
Yes.
It says it requires 65 gold in 23 days. So I'm gonna dump I have 15 already in it. I'm gonna dump the last 50.
Alright.
And then I add 7 days to it.
Yes. Add 10 days to it because Mika's coming to help as well.
Okay. Only 10 more days to go.
Hooray!
Yay.
When Mika shows up, Tomas will just give her a small, like a little smile, and then just go back to what he was doing.
Yep.
And
You
Miko,
have most of the foundational structure set up. It's just a lot of work getting it actually livable so you don't die to the freezing breeze.
Yeah.
Mika smacks trees instead of punching walls, so.
And then, when he does get picked up again, he's gonna be a gremlin.
Yep.
And he's going to, at like 3 in the morning, go find Nicandros.
Hold on, let me check something.
Oh yeah!
What?
Matt, Lana's gonna like have it in like a flash of inspiration. Lana's gonna like dig through her bag until she finds that little bird thing that she got given like months ago by Lady Elderness and be like, "Oh yeah, your son's safe. We found him." Well, Nicandros is safe. But she doesn't know that part.
Hey, good call.
She forgot. She's like, "Oh yeah, I promised that I would let her know when we found Nicandros."
Good call. I will make note of that. Alright. So, it looks like Nicandros is not on watch duty tonight, but you can track him down to his room.
Is the door unlocked?
Nicandros is too trusting to fucking lock his door.
Ross is gonna walk in and then like stand over the edge of Nicandros' bed and be like, Nicandros? Hey, Nicandros?
Slowly you see like an icy blue orb crack open in the middle of the darkness, and he just looks up at you with only one eye open and going, "Why are you in my room, Tomas?"
Because you're the holiest person here that I actually like, and I got your book.
Are you returning my book at 3 a.m. for a particular reason?
Because I need to talk to you.
Okay. Hold on. And Nicandra slowly picks himself up and throws his legs over the side of the bed. What is it you need to talk about, Tomas?
Okay, so Tomas is gonna sit on the edge of the bed next to Nicandros, plop the book in his lap, and just be like, so in your religion, there's like, do you believe in an afterlife sort of thing?
Yes. The followers of Brianna. Sorry. The followers of Argith generally believe in the typical heaven and abyss structure of most of the gods. Why do you ask?
I can't help but think that had Brianna and Ethos not done the shit they did, I could be with my daughter, and I can't get over the anger of that.
Tomas, if I understand things correctly, you already know where you ended up. If what I've heard from the others is true, you're already found where your final resting places were and collected your souls, stuck here in limbo instead of ascending or descending, based on the sin on their souls. It's not exactly the most palatable solution, but it seems like for all the flaws in the plan, this is the only way to resume the cycle of reincarnation.
Tomas is gonna hug his knees up to his chest. He's like, Nicandros, I think I misunderstood things and I might have fucked up.
This isn't exactly a scenario most people are expected to deal with, but admitting it is the first step.
I mean, I'm still pissed as all fuck on other reasons, like, they really got some fucking balls on them. You gotta admit it, right? Like, who just goes out there and thinks, like, hey, let's just reset the world?
It's not exactly an ideal situation. What other choices did they have? Try to start everything again from scratch and hope that the world didn't fall apart in the meantime.
Guess that would have been more of a up in the air variable, could have fucked everything up sort of situation. at least they sort of knew this one kind of worked for a bit.
And you're free to have your opinions on the woman, but if she was truthful for the time I was traveling with her, Brianna, Mother Generous at least how I knew her, always came off as rather genuine. It might not seem that way to us, but I'm sure she had her reasons.
Yeah.
Depending on your point of view. This could have been the only way she saw to give us all a second chance. Rather than sweeping everything that happened under the rug, and hoping it wouldn't happen again.
Well, that. I suppose at this point I don't even know if I know what's making me angry anymore. I guess it's just I want to say it's the God seal and that I thought having that gone would make things better because we would actually know. But now I kind of wish we didn't. It felt like a much more, I guess, innocent anger when we didn't know what actually.
For all his flaws, perhaps Ethos was right about that at least. But some truths are better in moderation.
Yeah. Besides the fact, if you ask my dad, he never really thought I could handle the truth about anything ever, anyways, so. There's that, I guess.
Well, would your father have guessed that you could have made it this far?
Oh no, he probably would have thought I'd have fucked up, like, how long have we been at this?
Almost a year now?
Yeah, a year ago.
Well, then I guess his opinion doesn't really matter all that much on this, does it?
Moss will laugh a little bit at that. He's like, yeah, you might not be wrong there. Do you think we can fix this, Nicandros? Get the souls going where they're supposed to be again?
I'm still not entirely sure myself. But if you had asked me that question when we first met, the answer would have been a definite no, so I think we're making progress at the very least.
Yeah, I think I probably would have said the same thing.
It all seems just a little less daunting in retrospect, doesn't it?
No, no, it still seems pretty daunting, Nicandros. Like, the fact that you and the rest of everybody else is just like, yeah, this is fine, we can do it. I'm like, are you guys okay? Because, like, I know I'm not okay, and the fact that you guys are, like, chill with this, I'm like, there's gotta be something wrong with the rest of you.
Some people wear the stress better than others. I wouldn't exactly call all of us okay.
Yeah.
But I think we're doing well enough, all things considered.
I mean, we haven't. I was gonna say we haven't hurt each other, but there was that one time that Lana pushed Wolf down the stairs. That was pretty great.
You see an exhaustion and a sadness in his eyes. At least he seems fine.
Yeah, he's got a hard head.
He's starting than most.
But like, okay, you're sure about this whole afterlife thing?
It seems to be pretty well studied across multiple of the most dominant religions. Sam, quick OOC thing. Like,
Yeah.
for reference, it's weird from our perspective, but like in Pathfinder universe, like religion is confirmed true.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The abyss and the like heavenly domains are like 100% confirmed to exist.
Yeah.
Like you can go there.
Oh shit.
So what you're
Yeah.
saying is So what you're saying it's hard to justify being an atheist in Fantasyland.
Yeah. Most atheists are just not agnostic, but they're like, none of the gods is throwing anything cool out. Not really jamming with any of it.
Yeah. Tomas is kind of a cynic though, so I'll
Yeah.
keep that as.
That's fine. If he
Yeah.
wasn't actively looking for that, he could very well be unaware.
Yeah. So I was gonna stand up then and look at Nikanjo. He's like, well, guess if I ever want to see her again, we gotta fix this, so. Let's go kill some demons. Maybe a god or two on the way. And see what happens. And he's just gonna grin.
I guess we can take that for now.
Also, Lana fixed it so that we could keep it a secret, but I kind of feel bad keeping this a secret. I did at one point use your book to stop from bleeding, but she fixed it. Good night, Nicandros. He's gonna leave.
Good night, Tomas.
At least he's honest.
Alright. Anybody else got anything they want to go over?
Yes.
Shoot.
But my choices are now narrower.
Okay.
Reese is gonna go find Wolf. Like the next day. Would Wolf be like in his room or?
Wolf will probably be at training all week.
Perfect.
Oh no.
So Reese is gonna go find Wolf.
Okay.
He's gonna walk up and be like, and keep a safe distance just in case Wolf is mid-training. And be like, Wolf, I have a request.
Wolf is gonna swing Moonfang once more and then turn to you. And what is that request, Reese?
So you know how once upon a time I was really squeamish.
Yes.
Well, I'm not anymore. And I kind of want to learn how you and Mika and Lana move around the battlefield and stuff.
Wolf is gonna have a moment of he's not 100% sure what you're asking him, and then it's gonna click, and you're gonna see it in his face, and he's gonna slowly set Moonfang down. Well, not set. He's gonna like stick it in the ground and like kind of stand out and look at you, be like, "Are you asking me to train you?"
Don't let it go to your head. But yeah.
Okay.
Besides,
We can make a swordsman out of you yet, Reese.
I know how to use a sword, Wolf.
Do you know how to use a sword, or do you know how to fight with a sword?
I know how to use a sword.
Exactly.
Here we go.
That was a
Please don't
really
make me
good
regret
line,
this.
Nathan.
Training montage.
What,
Yeah,
Kevin?
basically.
No, I really like that line.
Oh.
So yeah.
Alright, Reese. I accept. It's not going to be easy, though.
Oh no. I know. Wolf. Maybe we can rope Lana in too.
We should rope Mika in, too. Mika could probably use a break. And by that, I mean a break. Not a break at all.
Mika is not on site.
No, she is not.
Or at least well,
Wolf
first
doesn't
day,
know that.
first
'cause
day
Wolf
she'd be
hasn't
on
really
site.
paid attention to anyone.
First day she'd be on site, but after that,
Yep. This week is actually the least training Lana's like ever done since they got to the observatory.
That's the most.
She's got a lot of shit going on this week.
It's the most training Reese has ever done in his life that he knows of.
It's the most he's ever done since he got reset.
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 But see, Reese, Reese technically didn't exist in the other timeline.
Well, Wolf will gladly honor your request and teach you.
Cool. Reese has new tricks.
Oh, is this you role playing? You asking a party member to retrain you in something?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
Reese has switched his muses and is now a warrior muse and a polymath.
The fuck is a muse?
Muse is like
Is that like
A bard
bard,
thing.
like a bard path?
kind of yeah.
the warlock deity almost.
Yeah, it's like what type of performances do you specialize in?
Oh, okay. That's really
For
cool.
instance, Reese can now use martial weapons and now has attack of opportunity.
Ooh.
Rising up.
Along with a few other shiny things. However, Reese has lost things too,
Oh.
so just FYI. Reese doesn't have Inspire Heroics or Inspire Defense anymore.
Whole team goes full unga bunga.
Best defense is a good offense.
I think you'll like the things he can do now.
Yeah. Warrior Muse trades out some more general buffs for some really fun specific buffs.
Let's see.
Yeah.
What's an
They're really
example?
good at making marshals go burr.
Yeah. Let's see.
Which is basically the whole party.
Yeah, with a rousing call, you exhort an ally to advance. If your next action is to cast the Inspire Courage composition cantrip, one ally who gains a status bonus from the spell can immediately use a reaction to stride.
Oh, nice.
That's like one of the baby ones that he gets.
That's really useful, like free movement.
When the ally, this is another one. When the ally you chose for Courageous Assault critically succeeds at the strike granted by the action, another ally affected by your Inspire Courage Composition spell can immediately use a reaction to make a melee strike. So,
Attacks on reaction, baby.
Uh-huh.
Did you end up picking up call and response?
I did not.
Gotcha.
Because I found a way to make lingering work, and lingering is more efficient than
gotcha.
call and response.
Yep.
I did, however, pick up battle cry.
Battlecry is solid.
I love being able to demoralize people at the start of combat. So yeah, Reese is different now. Also,
Reese
Reese and Wolf get nice, happy bonding time, so Wolf doesn't have to think about his existential crisis.
Congratulations, Reese has evolved into Violent Reese.
Violence is good. That sounds real fucked up.
Is that on the back of Wolf's like training brochure? Like Wolf's dojo, violence is good. 5
Oh.
stars.
Exactly.
Also, Reese is changing his hair during the week. So Wolf would probably be the first person to notice it.
You cut it?
Oh yeah.
He's not cutting it, no.
Oh.
But his hair is now black, fading into purple, then blue, then like orange and red.
Okay, scene kid.
Nice.
That sounds
He
sick.
already looked like a scene kid. He had black hair with blue underlights. What do you want from him?
He's even more of a
It's so
scene kid.
funny that you say the word scene, because I was arguing with someone today about scene kids.
Scene kids tend to use pastel colors.
Wait, do they?
We're,
Yeah.
Oh, never mind then.
Mika actually had a hair change too, like the night after Cindergate, just never brought it up.
Reese did Mika's hair. But Reese, it's a very personal reason why he's doing it, so. He actually might swing by at one point too and check on Reeves.
Reebs?
Mhm.
Sure. You'll probably find him, probably in the... He's probably in the infirmary.
Having stabbed himself in the head.
Busted.
all of the potential reasons went in through my brain at once. They were all
Yes.
hilarious.
Yes. So, I think you'll find him in the whenever you find him. He'll probably be in the infirmary that day. Like just like sitting either between Lynn and Zara, some combination thereof, or just trying to practice on his own.
Reese
I
will
like
probably
the idea.
Huh?
I like the idea of Reese walking in as Reeves is like got skeleton key to his forehead and it's going like. "Rrrr." It's
just like
okay.
Emmy sighing and going to replace the bandages.
Reese just like looking between them and be like, "How you holding up there, Reeves?"
You see him with skeleton key, the blade like probably like half an inch into his forehead, and he's just like looking over at you. It's just like it's not what it
Doesn't
looks
look-
like.
That, right, right. Reese is probably like got his hair up in a ponytail. He's like looks sweaty and dirty and stuff, and he's like, "Right, cool. Looks like you're keeping yourself distracted. That's great. Keep yourself distracted. That's fine. I'm just gonna go back and do what I was doing."
Did you want to talk or something?
I was making sure that you weren't still a giant ball of rage.
Tomas has been gone, so that kind of gave me some space to think. If you want to talk about anything, give me
I'm
one
good.
moment.
Reese just being like.
I'm well adjusted.
The band just got ripped off 4 levels ago for me.
Yeah.
He's like,
I mean-
"Listen, I've had a lot of stuff that I've had to deal with that prepared me for this moment. I'm fine. Everybody else seems to be really upset, though."
I mean, to be quite honest with you, I'm like I died head first, haha, get it? Into into this additional chain breaker training because yeah.
Because you don't want to deal with your existential crisis that brings everything that you ever believed into question?
Well, yeah.
Reese just fingers guns and he's like, keep it up, buddy.
That's perfect.
Part of me is like partially convinced this isn't a great way. This isn't a great way to cope. But at the same time, I'm learning things.
I drank.
Well, that sounds less productive. So I think I'm doing
Perfect.
it right.
Yep, you're doing great. Keep up the good work.
You're doing
Cool.
great, sweetie.
I'm gonna go back to learning how to stab people efficiently.
Oh, I can give you tips on that.
Oh boy, another one. He's like, Wolf is already kicking my ass. But sure.
Oh,
if you need another distraction.
Oh, I can give you a few tricks to maybe get the one up on him. Give me one moment. Okay, Emmy, I think I lost track. I'm gonna need some more bandages. One moment.
Reese is like, cool. I'm gonna wait out here. And give you some privacy.
Reeves comes out like the entire top of his head bandaged. Emmy got tired of it, so she just bandaged his ears to the top of his head.
I hope she bandaged his ears so they're sticking straight up.
Emmy's a good girl.
Like bunny ears.
Yep.
Emmy's so fucking tired.
They're
Poor Emmy.
they're totally sticking up like bunny ears, and he just waddles out. It's like, okay,
I didn't sign up for this.
Stylish. Let's go.
yeah.
Unless Reese distracted people.
Yay. Reese is using his fucking dead inside powers to his advantage.
Yes, he is. It's taken him, what, like 6 levels to get to this point?
Yeah.
Finally, he's like, ah.
Maybe part of the attack of opportunity portion could be from some of Reeves' tips.
That's fair. Also, at one point, he's going to visit Avi to get a bladed scarf.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
So the question is, do you want to buy a new bladed scarf, or do you want Avi to sew razor blades into your scarf?
A new one, probably in red and black and orange or something like that.
The latter is so funny.
Yeah,
It
but
is.
the lattice scarves are blue and he's sad.
Oh, true.
Gotcha, something nice and stylish to go along with your new look. Loving it, by the way.
Thank you.
And also to deal with any critics of said new look. I like it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I should be able to wrap something up for you. Give me until this evening, and I should have it for you.
Awesome. You are an angel. How much is that, Matt?
Just a normal bladed scarf. I think it's just a few gold. I'd have to look up the equipment table value.
Yeah, because it's gonna automatically sync with repertoire, so it doesn't matter
Yeah.
if it's just a normal one.
Yeah, just let me know how much. Just take however much a normal one costs out.
Let me look. And Reese is instantly going to sync it so that he can start wearing repertoire as a scarf.
Yep. That fucking stupid ass weapon.
Fucking love it. I love the image of Reese just turning his scarf into his fucking violin in the middle of battle. It's so good.
I love the image of Reese pulling off his scarf with the side, like whipping it like a towel, and it being a rapier.
And everybody's like,
fucking
what?
caught a bitch.
Everybody's like, Reese? And he's like, yeah. Oh, it's like 3 gold. Whatever.
Yeah. Base weapons are cheap as shit, and that's one of the more expensive weapons.
But it had all the stuff that a whip has, including disarming, reach, sweeping, tripping, and stuff like that, so I was like, fuck it, why not? I think that's all I wanted to do. I don't want to go too late. Most of the other stuff is probably tech stuff.
Alright. Alright, anybody else have anything they would like to go over during the downtime?
Reeves will probably do some crafting of his own. When he's not lockpicking his forehead.
Sure thing. How many days do you want to put into that?
Let's put 4 days into it.
All right, give me a crafting roll.
Hero point. That's 31.
All right, master. That's a success. How many days did you say?
4.
40 gold.
40 gold. Okay, that will put me at 80. Wait, 40?
Yeah.
That'll put me at 77.5.
Gotcha. All right. Getting closer, but no new stuff yet.
Okay.
And that's towards pile bunker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, does having that Oh wait, or did we already use that? I have the automata kinetic blueprints.
Yes. If you want to use that, that is a good reason for Reeves to try to work with Cornelius, because that was going to be how I unlocked actually doing the pile bunker, because that's actually like super complex.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to do. I would love to do a scene regarding that at some point.
Yeah. So have him. So we'll say for now, Reeves is studying it and trying to figure out how he wants to do it, and then for the final steps of actually implementing it in a functional manner that isn't going to be like the size of Reeves' head for the pile bunker, you could work with Cornelius.
Awesome.
All right. Anything else from the party?
Nope.
Well,
Uh,
you already know what else I want, but it might be better to do that part off the wire, I guess.
Yes.
Does anybody want to go with? Lana. Are you going to do that on your own, or are you going to try to bring other people with you?
Lana would bring it up with Nara first, just to make sure, like, hey, it's cool if they're here, right? That's cool. And, like, she wouldn't, like, keep it a secret. So, like, anybody that's around, she'd just be like, hey, I'm thinking about, going to grab my siblings and bring them here. So, she'd probably let Wolf know at training.
Mm-hmm.
And then, whoever else just happened to be around. So, I'd say
Reese would
the
go.
party would know.
Reeves is in the infirmary.
Reese would go if Lana let him.
Yeah, no, she'd be fine.
All right. So we have two options. We can either do that now, or if you want, next week is going to be we're going to be skipping next week, so I have time to write up all of the mission plans. But we could also meet that week for brief little RP stuff, including that.
That sounds perfect, actually. Let's just do it next week. Have a
I'm
little.
down.
Yeah, if you want to include Wolf, I'm down to do that next week.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, if Wolf wants to come along, yeah.
Okay, that way, because I imagine you're doing that towards the end of the week.
Yeah, or at least like a couple of days in.
Alright. So yeah, Mika and Tomas would be in Elf City, and
Yep.
then anybody else can follow along in that. Perfect. Alright.
Ah, suck it, Tomas. You don't get to do family stuff.
Oh no, he's fine with that.
Oh, okay. I know that's like his weakness, so that'd be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's his penance.
Tomas is
okay.
having a big day. It's okay.
It's okay. I think Tomas might be having a crisis because me and Sam just realized something.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Drama. Dabs.
Oh no, not drama.
So how's Reese feel being the only odd party member out now?
He feels sad for the rest of the party, but he's glad that for once he's actually somewhat stable. He's like, oh, all this pain and suffering has prepared me for more pain and suffering. I can just gently put it aside and be like, yeah, that's fine.
Also, he's in a bit of a weird circumstance, considering that he's
This is
not
his
the
first
recreation.
chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is his first chance. This is not a second chance for him.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so I think this is a good place for us to put a tab in it, and it's getting a little bit late anyway, so that's probably for the best, but congrats, you guys finally understand the concept of my campaign.
Yay!
Solved my
We're
puzzle.
do-overs.
Wait, Matt,
Yeah.
you told me that this week I would learn which one of my theories I got right.
Sam, you fucking, like, stupid early in the campaign, you put in, like, a random, like, fucking, from, like, the opposite end of the court, fucking hit the rim and almost got it in, you made a guess of, oh, maybe the gods are just making us start over to get it right this time.
Yeah, Mika came up with that one much later, like right after Cindergate.
Also, now that you guys know the information behind that, Sam, you will be delighted to know I was within inches of making Phelan the original Tomas.
Oh!
And, which would have explained why he's so spiteful of you.
Well, yeah, but Matt, I'm also still. What you might have done might be worse, Matt. Because I think I know what you did, Matt.
Yeah, but the rules I set up wouldn't have worked for that, so I unfortunately had to scrap it.
And then made something worse, Matt.
Oh my god, that would've been so great. It'd be fucking Phelan is Emiya.
Phelan is Tomas if Tomas had to fucking cope with his own failures for 1,000 years.
Oh
Emiya!
god.
Fuck. That's dark.
Emiya!
I also love how every time Reese runs into Reeves outside of like a mission, it's always some cryptid bullshit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Reese is just like, cool, okay.
If you ever want an actual like conversation between them that doesn't involve cryptid bullshit, let me know.
They probably need to have one eventually. They never have.
No, they haven't.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's just like which is more likely, Reeves approaching Reese about it, or Reese approaching Reeves about it? Which would you think is more likely to happen?
I don't know.
One day this week where Reeves initiates training, he's like, yeah, Emmy said I'm not allowed to stab myself for a little bit, so...
I like it. We'll do that. We'll do that as a lead-in. I like it.
Yeah, like Reeves just approaches Reese to give him more training because he suddenly has more time.
Yeah.
So, how much do you appreciate Lynn's stupid fucking garbage explanations?
I love it. I
I
love it.
love Lynn so much.
It's getting Reeves to the point where he can also Spartacus the domain, but getting to that point of intuition is going to it's going to be prying teeth for this lad, unfortunately.
He's getting close to intuition. The problem is not having the innate, like, fucking infinite battery of having the domain.
Yes.
You know, in my brain, this training montage with Reese and Wolf just was a repeated scene of just Reese falling flat on his ass repeatedly, just over and over and over. And him just staring up at Wolf eventually and being like, I'm just gonna stay here. I'm just like laying back on the ground.
We will go into it more once we do the mission kickoffs. But to celebrate everybody finally being back, Feck is going to be throwing a party the day after Tomas returns.
Everyone's not back.
So, what?
We're missing Zek, aren't we?
Yep.
Yes. But Feck promised a feast if you all survived the god slap fight.
Oh, okay.
I can't wait for it to be like the most low energy feast ever, and then Reese to just get up on a table and be like, "Woo!"
I'm really excited just for us to be in the middle of the feast and somebody stops like, wait, guys, we forgot about Zach.
But this isn't
We'll
a
throw
celebration
another
for
one when we get Zach.
This isn't the celebration for the hands. This is for the god fight.
Oh no, this isn't celebrating for everybody being reunited. This is celebrating for everybody coming back from the God War and not being paced.
Yes.
Okay.
Feck,
Yeah.
Feck, like going over the Tomas covering his mouth is like, shh, this isn't about Zek.
This is about wine, and it starts pouring wine down Tomas's throat.
Tomas gurgling that he doesn't really want to be drunk as wine's been
Then you
poured
haven't
on
had
him.
enough wine yet.
Yep.
Just Feck like in the background while Tomas is gone. Your boyfriend's a sad drunk, right? Let's get all the
Yeah.
sad out of him.
Oh, don't make him cry. Tomas is such
That'll
an
help.
ugly
He needs to
crier.
cry.
Reeves in the background swimming through a pool of scrap.
Basically.
I know, that's why we need the ultimate third person here to help him start crying, because he's too proud to do it on his own. And that's sweet,
What?
delicious elven wine.
Tomas did almost start crying at Nicandros.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this was also the week that Tomas and Reese had their realizations as the God Seal hid those memories.
Yeah, like literally that's why he goes to train, because Brianna told Reese that basically that Reese was her little pogchamp.
What?
Wait, what?
What was it that Matt told me that Phelan told? Let's find this. Let's find this fucking bullshit, Matthew.
It was pretty gay.
It was really gay.
It was really gay. But the one that Brianna gave Reese was just really sweet. It was basically Brianna being like, "You're valid and you're my little pogchamp," and Reese was like, "I am your little
I
pogchamp."
posted it somewhere. Where did it go?
No, you posted to
Okay.
Vit.
Oh no, I found it. It was above the post I posted left. Haha. So Phelan said to Tomas, "I knew it wasn't you, at least not the you that I remembered, but in my foolishness I couldn't accept it. I thought maybe, somehow, it would all come back to you, that you would resurface if I could just figure out what had been lost. I returned your bow to how it was when we first met. I chided and mocked you as I always had, yet as I always knew you were gone to me. This selfish obsession of mine isn't fair though, neither to you nor him. I wanted so badly, just once, to be able to return the favor. To repay your foolish kindness that day when in my weakness I failed you 5. Perhaps it's better this way, that even with a second chance I'm helpless to bring back what was lost. Yet even if you never see it, I'll make sure you can finally rest. And maybe this time you'll be able to save them like I couldn't."
Aww.
See, Phelan is basically Tomas. They're both fucking snide bitches that are soft.
Tomas is gonna fucking snap, man.
I'm looking forward to Tomas like screaming in the forest at 2 a.m. like the day after he gets out there.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can fix this easy. This is easy to fix. Oh,
I look forward to when Mika shows up that Tomas has mascara running down his face that he never fixed.
Tomas just looks like a feral mess. He's like, "Hi, Mika."
Oh, you reverted. It's been like 3 days.
Yeah, we're working on that wall. He just goes back.
Mika's just like, I got booze. And goes works on the wall. Like,
Tomas takes one of the bottles, walks off.
it's dwarven booze. It'll be fun.
But yeah, I'm so glad that that is finally off the table. I love my dumb concept of you're technically playing the characters you gave me at the start of the campaign, and you've also collected the literal characters you gave me at the start of the campaign.
Whee!
Because if you haven't noticed, a lot of your original iterations that you've rescued are based on your original concepts you provided me, without having them changed over time.
Mm-hmm.
Reeves going down the dual wielder route was originally what I had planned for him.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what would have been different between original Mika and current. Like, I didn't really have a plan for original Mika.
My
Yeah.
best and worst mistake was giving Matt a bare bones concept and a character and letting him just do whatever the fuck he wanted.
I had fun.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah. Original Mika looks a little less feral than you.
She was a dual wielder originally too, yeah, but yeah, a little,
Yeah.
slightly less feral. Probably she hasn't used the
Yeah.
feral too much.
Is
Yeah.
current Tomas more or less feral?
I mean, you literally have the feral blessings of a god.
More feral. Oh,
Original Tomas is the concept that you waffled on before going into the other one of him being a Beastmaster.
But then he picked that up anyway.
Yeah. Nice funny.
Oh, I remember because I wanted to have him have a pet, but I didn't
Yeah.
want to put the feats into it because it kind of sucked that all of Rangers' feats go to their pets.
Yep. And if
I
you remember,
remember.
you specifically told me about Kira was going to be his pet.
Wow, you remember shit.
Yeah. I used to hurt you and then tell you how much I hurt you. Also, fun fact about the session, the background song that's been playing this entire time is called Crumbling Lies.
Also,
I know.
Ah.
I know, Matt.
Tomas took Maya with him.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
He needs a cat to cry into.
Mika's
Part of-
meditation chat is gonna be so entertaining to deal with.
Part of me does feel a bit bad that Reese is just here like, feels like a Tuesday. But his
It's
whole
okay.
life
Tomas
is
needs to
like,
feel normal. I mean,
fucked.
Reese needs to feel normal for once.
Yeah.
It's like, everybody's on my level. This is what normalcy feels like.
Word. It's just like, make sure Wolf's okay, give Lana a hug, ignore Tomas.
I did appreciate Tomas being like, oh, I think I misunderstood the situation.
I mean, he's still very, very pissed off about other things, but he did misunderstand that part.
Yeah. And I hope he's not terribly mad. Nara just knows that that bitch needs a stern mother figure.
Oh, yeah, no. He's not mad at any of the gods except Eber, obviously, Ethos, and Brianna.
Yeah.
Reese really fucking hates
Yeah,
Ever.
I think everybody's got a ticket.
Plus has a murder list started of the gods that have to die.
Number 1, Eber. Number 2, Eber. Number 3, Eber.
Oh,
You guys.
you're being kind about 2
The,
and
the
3.
movement in Rise is so fun.
Yeah. I can't wait to play that more tomorrow. Oh.
Literally half this session, I've just been running around the village, just wire bugging off the ramp.
Hell yeah, dude.
So fucking good.
How do you feel about Reese tonight, Matt?
I appreciate him.
Look at what you've created.
Yeah.
It's very much not the original Reese.
No.
Sassated calling Wolf Puppy.
He still calls Wolf Puppy.
Oh yeah, but it's definitely different than the original one.
Oh, Mika,
That was
also,
fake
if you
Reese.
didn't catch it, Mika is now the first person in the party that Zara hasn't addressed as pup.
Oh,
You've been recognized as an official party mom.
She still calls Tomas pup.
I
That's
mean,
'cause
that's fucking
Tomas-
fair.
Deserve it.
Mika kind of has gone whole hog, patch everybody up.
Yeah.
Like, Tomas might be old, but he's still got a lot of learning to do.
Mm-hmm. Also, fun fact: the impetus for her for melting down those collars is she got the same dream that Wolf did. From Gunnar's perspective.
Oof.
Yeah, she's
Rip.
really not a fan of them anymore. But yeah, feel free, anybody that will be around next week, to think on any other characters you would like to talk to. We'll do the Lana sister pickup session. And we'll start assembling missions.
Eee. I will
I plan to have a couple options up at once, all of them with varying escalation points. Moving forward, you will be forced to take downtime weeks between missions. There will be mechanical reasons explained when the session kick off. There are unfortunate limitations for the situation you guys are in.
So no Mass Effect 3ing it to get a perfect thing.
Nope. Unfortunately, being fucking stuffed full of souls like your Thanksgiving turkey has some consequences.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Counts how many.
Hey, Lana's only a 2.
Reese has like
The
7.
problem is you have more than one in there, so you're
True.
way more unstable than normal people, and there's some shit going on.
How many
Reeves
does
Reeves has 7.
how many does
something
Mika
like that.
actually have?
Haha.
Oh dear.
I think Mika and Wolf have the most. Other people have less, but they also have more individually powerful souls.
Mika's got Selwis.
Reese just sitting here like, I have a piece of Brianna. What's up?
Yep, there's
You
that
have Selwis minus every ounce of her divinity.
point.
So you have the original host that became Selwis.
That's fair.
Yep.
Nas just driving with his other self, looks at him like, bitch, you ain't shit.
Could see that.
Tomas protecting his brother from the other two idiots inside of him.
Tomas looking at the other Tomas like, bitch, I'm the one they made because you fucked up.
I don't even know if original Reese counts as a full soul.
No, really, he's like kind of half a soul at the moment.
Yeah, like he's only like half of Aelwyn's
He
soul,
is a Reese
basically.
before the war.
Yep.
He is Reese before Aelwyn, to be specific.
Is Aowa the actual person?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Aelwyn was a personality adapted by the original Reese.
Yep.
Okay, so like a alternate, spy identity.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I've been trying to sort that shit out.
Yeah, so Reese
The gods
assumed
mentioned
the identity of
Tiamat.
Aelwyn. Identity and appearance of Aelwyn. Some fucked up shit happened. And then Eadras got... Yeah, it's fucking weird.
Idras essentially fucking vored half of Reese's soul.
Aye, then.
Tiamat was having a grand old time with that adventure, okay? We don't question that.
Yeah, I caught there in the meeting. Gods mentioned her shenanigans.
Yeah, I forget if you were around for that session.
I don't think I was actually. No.
Oh my god.
Tiamat was the first mortal created, and Brianna is like, "You're my big, strong PogChamp daughter. Here's a bunch of my divinity, so you can take up my responsibilities on the mortal plane." And she went insane.
Ah. Okay, no, I was not around for that session.
She is the first and most powerful of the mortals, and essentially has corrupted Brianna's domains to be inverted. And she's kind of around because nobody can fucking kill her.
All right then.
And then Reese was smart and told her to go fuck herself.
Secondary fun fact for those that weren't in fun discussions I randomly had at like 2 a.m. over text chat. If Reese had not told Tiamat to fuck off, Tiamat was gonna help you guys in that God War fight and ragdoll people around.
Oh.
Reese would also be evil.
But at what cost?
Reese would be very evil.
Imagine the joy in your heart where you watched Tiamat stroll in and said, "Oh, I've heard you've been very rude to my son and his friends. Let's have a talk," and then picks Eber up by his skull and just punts him into the ground.
Okay,
Oh god.
that's almost worth it.
It's almost tempting to go the evil route.
Reese would be a very different person right now. I don't think you would like him very much.
No, let's remember that Tiamat somehow fused a fucking greater sin into one of her children for yet unknown reasons.
For yet unknown reasons. So no matter how much of a good boy Reese was, Tiamat probably still would have fucked him over in the end.
Yep.
Said son then fucking fled inside of his familiar's body because he was like, yeah, mom would have fucking murdered me.
For funsies.
What?
There's only one level of disappointment, and that's kill.
Oh, Percy's the address?
No.
Eadras is currently
Not
possessing
Percy.
Allegro's body.
Allegro, not Percy.
Yep. Eadras is currently puppeteering Allegro, who is his original familiar.
Okay, that makes some things make a lot more sense. Jesus Christ.
There's a lot of threads going on around Reese.
Reese's
Uh-huh.
life is very difficult and complicated.
I missed one session, apparently.
Yeah, that was when Eadras came out and answered a bunch of questions, and he was like, yeah, so, I'll help you in battle from time to time, I guess, so long as I can stay here and be away from my mom. And Reese was like, I guess?
Eadras's mood is like, I'd really rather not be here, but my other option is being dead, so I know when to fucking pick my fights.
Oh boy, okay then. That makes
So now you have an evil blue dragon stuck inside the body of like a bird.
Yep.
Okay, that
And Reese is also that evil blue dragon, but he is
he's the reboot.
not. He's not even a reboot. He's a chunk of Aelwyn / Reese shoved into the brain pan of Eadras.
The physical appearance of and the memories of Reese / Aelwyn inside the body and mind of Eadras.
Except was it the body of Eadras but covered by lust?
Not this one.
Weird, huh?
Okay.
It's the new body that they made was
Okay,
a
so-
polymorphed Eadras for Reese.
So it was the rebuild. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
Okay.
this Reese that's in the party with you has never existed before. He only exists because of this particular situation.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd mentioned that part, so.
It's essentially what happens if Eadras was raised by a healthy, happy family, but then experienced some like midlife trauma of realizing he wasn't that person.
Mhm.
Oddly, that still works out better than baseline Eadras.
Yes.
Oh,
Your
question.
entire life as a lie is less traumatic than being raised by Tiamat. What's up, Wolf?
Oh, that's Seffi.
Sorry.
The rumors that we had heard about each other's characters,
Yeah.
were those from the before time or from reboot time?
Those are reboot time.
Reboot time? Okay.
Reese had some spicy ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still never made the connection that Reese was the succubus you heard about.
Yep.
Hey, oddly enough, you guys actually travel with an incubus. Or a
Point.
half-cubus.
Yeah.
Shino.
How is Shino doing?
He's doing good. Reese
making-
talks to him a lot. They're friends.
He like doesn't actively engage with the party most of the time. He just gremlins out in his cave, but he's around.
Reese invades his cave because he's a bastard.
Yeah, just like before, if you ever want to talk to Shino, you have to go to Shino.
Also, that I fixed the post.
Hell yeah. I will update that tomorrow. Kevin, I also responded to you as well.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I just,
Brain hard think, yeah.
busy. Yeah. Yeah.
That is entirely fair.
Yeah.
So many texts.
Alright. But yes, if anybody has any general overarching plots about things now that the general story has been revealed, let me know and I can help clarify those.
I'll get back to you at some point deciding between.
And if people actually want roleplay, hit me up tomorrow. Probably. I'm running on very little sleep right now, so.
Yeah.
I'll probably hit you up after the next session, but I want to see how this goes.
I'm looking forward to next Friday's little roleplay thing, because Lana's gonna has some things to say to whoever goes with her, Just for
Reese is
some-
gonna go with her.
just for some fun character stuff.
Reese is
Yeah.
going with Lana because Lana's his sister.
Aw.
Reeves might end up going. He'll just have his whole head bandaged up.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I'd say Wolf and Reeves know that she's going to do that.
Just Wolf and Reeves?
Well, Reese is already in, so I was just saying both of them
Oh,
would
okay.
know as
I
well.
was like, oh, okay.
No. She's not like keeping it a secret or anything.
Are you being a bully, Leo?
Oh, are we leaving now? 1 second. Emmy, what do you mean? What do you mean I reached my quota on bandages?
Oh, come here, Reeves, and Lana like helps him out. Oh yeah, Lana just like fucking slaps him upside the forehead and Font of Vitality's him for whatever he got stabbed for.
I stabbed myself.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, yeah, now we're in the fun times.
The end games.
Whee!
Yeah,
Not quite.
In the end game now.
congratulations. You are now what Brianna was at the start of the campaign, where you get to look at the list of missions and start deciding who goes where.
Ooh.
Enjoy the existential dread of, oh my god, we physically can't complete all of these.
Oh God.
Fun times.
Fun adventures, choices.
Does that mean we'll be able to send groups of other people to investigate or handle things?
No.
Okay.
In investigate, you can have them do like certain you can have them do certain supporty things. You cannot have a secondary combat, like an NPC combat party, go out and clear nodes.
Okay.
I imagine the nodes are way above their pay grade.
It's also, if we have 4 of you on one team, 4 of you on another team, if they send another 4 out and something were to happen at the observatory, they'd be fucked.
That's fair.
Hmm.
And we're at the point where Nara is like hyper sus because she's like, yeah, the skeleton was able to contact me when we were in the observatory. That's a problem.
Skeleton's the only good one to break.
Yeah,
And
but
even
if
he is,
Xyces can,
like-
it doesn't mean Ethos can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It isn't the first time people have tried to sneak, like, gotten through either communications or tried to sneak in one way or another, so she's on high alert. Especially considering the increasing number of, like, people that straight up cannot compete with the threats they're dealing with.
Hmm.
But yeah, that'll be a fun adventure.
Reese is having fun.
It's like everyone's on my level now.
Well, he never wanted them to be, but he's like, oh, well, now I feel stable.
It's like he's got company now.
He was already kind of starting to come out of it, but like basically this happening kind of gave him a reason to get his shit together, I guess.
Fair.
Because he can support his friends who supported him.
Aw.
Yeah, see, it's Loki soft. Reese is a soft bitch. Not as soft as Tomas, though.
Oh, what you're talking about?
Uh-huh.
He's a raw, edgy, broody bastard.
Uh-huh, okay.
He
Shreddy
told me he isn't
mascara.
gonna have a breakdown and cry or scream during the text RP we're about to have.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
Huh.
Yes. I will start reaching out to you. I've discussed with a few of you the concepts for the next character upgrades for you guys, but for those that I haven't, I will be reaching out in the next few days.
Nathan.
Brother, don't worry.
Fucking. I want to write, man.
I will, I promise.
I desire it.
We also need to roleplay, Nathan. You opened the floodgates. Good job.
I opened the floodgates, period, apparently.
I yearn.
Well, yeah, because we all didn't think that you'd be interested in text roleplay.
Why
Until,
wouldn't
like,
Brandon
you?
opened
last
the
week.
gates and then 3 people drop kicked in through the opening.
Yeah.
Literally.
Ah, you have friends that love you.
Loser.
Oh no.
You're my favorite loser.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Who was that directed to?
Kevin.
Wow.
Bitch just a shithead.
Wow.
Wait,
Fine. I don't want to play with you anyways. It's fine.
wait, where do I fall in this?
You're a brat.
Okay, I'll take it.
Wow. I am the
Alright.
lowest tier of friendship. That's fun.
Shithead's pretty up there.
Thanks.
It's the affectionate
I
shithead.
claim the highest. I think Brat's the highest.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
He
I don't
lived
know.
with me, Sam.
You're all
Wait,
pretty high. Alright. Don't get crazy.
Alright. Well, you kids have fun. I should probably start getting ready for bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah.
Night, everyone.